What is going on, guys? MCS Red here again. I have a video for you guys on the installation of the remote line adapter as well as the rear air and stock kits. I get a lot of questions about these because they never line up correctly, and a lot of people think that's a defective product or it's not compatible. Unfortunately, it's completely normal. It happens. The reason being for this is because you can't match up these threads exactly every single time, because the ASA and the 468 or the back caps of the Blizzard for the rear air, the Hurricane, Vortex, the drop down ASA, the universal drop down ASA that we offer, all those threads are completely different. So and they all came out at different times. So it's very difficult for us to match the threads exactly to our remote line adapters, as well as there's a lot of aftermarket parts for rear air type of stuff, or ASAs, different regulators, etc., etc. So too many variables. It's the reason why it is not exactly the same every single time. So do not worry. I'm going to show you how to install it correctly. So doesn't matter which marker you have. The Vortex, this has a drop down, universal drop down ASA for the Vortex, not universal, I'm sorry, just the drop down ASA for the Vortex. And then the Hurricane has one as well, or the standard back cap, or the standard back cap for the Vortex, Bolt, Blizzard, etc., etc. It doesn't matter which ASA you have or where you're putting this remote line adapter. Installation is going to be the same every single time. So what I have here is a 468. I'm going to show you how to do the remote line adapter first, then we'll do the rear air or air and stock kit. So what I like to do is, you're going to see in here you have a puncture pin, or activator pin as I like to call it, that activates your tank or your remote line adapter or whatever to allow air to enter the marker. What I like to do is I take our RAP4 Gold Marker Lubricant, and I will go ahead and I'll put a couple drops of oil on the ASA activator pin as well as the threads. You have to remember that whenever you're using your ASA, it doesn't matter, as long as the activator tooth in the ASA activates your regulator, ball valve, pin valve to release the air, that chamber will pressure seal and it will not go. It will not go anywhere, trust me. That's about 800 pounds of pressure sealing that chamber. That means the tank to the marker. So you don't have to worry about it falling off, exploding off. Get a lot of crazy acquisitions. So you don't worry about that. So for the remote line adapter, do the same thing. There's an O-ring at the end here. This O-ring is very important. This also seals the chamber. It's located towards the front of the threads, which is the reason why it needs to go in a certain amount for it to pressure release, and why we gave it a little bit of extra space so that way it could lock, or we could back it out when we need, which I'm going to show you right here. So you have your remote line adapter. There's also a locking pin right here. This locking pin, if you unscrew it completely, will come completely off. So you don't want to do that. You're going to need that piece. I like to just screw it on a little bit. Then you have your fill nipple here, your 45° 1/8 fill nipple, and then this is just the metal mil-spec buffer tube that we sell. We did have a commercial spec one back in the day. We do not have that one anymore. So this is mil-spec. You can use any mil-spec accessories as far as stocks. So this is the one that we offer now. So take a couple drops of oil. I put it on that O-ring, about 1 or 2. Now installing it, you just go ahead and insert it until the threads catch. So go ahead and tighten it until it bottoms out. So this is where it stops. Obviously, you can tell this is not where this stock is supposed to be. That's perfectly fine. Wherever it bottoms out. Now, it may not be this location. It may be the 1 o'clock, the 3 o'clock, the 6 o'clock, even the 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock position. Doesn't matter. All you're going to do is keep going until it bottoms out, and you're going to back it off until it lines up. So you notice how it went from here, it bottoms out, to about 180 degrees down until it's straight. Now that looks pretty darn straight to me. What I'll do is you'll take that locking ring that I talked about earlier that you don't want to take off, and you'll lock it in until it stops. Okay, and make sure if it moves, you want to just hold this part of the stock until this locking pin locks it down and it enables it, or disables it from moving, I'm sorry. Then you'll see 2 holes on this locking ring. They're not significant as far as area. What I like to do is I'll take an Allen key or something thick enough, like a punch would work a lot better, and I'll put it in that hole and I will tighten it down. I will torque it until it cannot move. And you will notice that this stock will not move anymore once it's torqued down. Now obviously I did not torque it down in this position because this doesn't go on this marker at this time, but that's what you would do. At that point, you'll notice that you can't really see any threads, which is perfectly fine. Even if you did, you won't know if it leaks or if it's sealing the chamber until you air it up. So you'll take your remote line adapter, or your remote line, hook it up, make sure the charging handle is charged back on all of our markers before you air them up. That's just rule of thumb. And then go ahead and air it. If you hear a leak from here, you want to put your hand on it. If the air is coming from the hole on top of the 468 receiver, on the ASA, that means that it's not sealing the chamber. So if it's not sealing the chamber, here is what you want to do. So what I do is I'll just loosen this, take this off, I'm sorry. Now, if it does not seal the chamber, what I have here is a miscellaneous bag of tank O-rings. Everyone has tank O-rings. If you don't, in your order, just contact me, I'll throw it in there for you. So, you have tank O-ring, I just drop it right down into the ASA, make sure it's flat, and then I'll go ahead and tighten this back on. And you'll notice it gets tighter a lot faster. So right here it gets pretty tight. So that should work. But if I didn't have a problem without it, don't put the O-ring in there. But if I did, I'd put it in there and I'd do the same exact process, tighten it down, torque it down with an Allen key or a punch, anything that's strong enough to hold into that hole to torque down that locking ring, and you test it again and you should be good to go. There are very few cases that I've ever seen more than one of these O-rings go in. If that happens, give me a call and we'll take a look at that. If it still doesn't work, then you may have a defective or wrong spec remote line adapter. In that case, contact us at mcsus.com and we'll get you a replacement. Final and last of the rear air capable kits is the tank. Now, rear air kits are compatible with 13 CI tanks, cha-ching, or 17 CI tanks, which I don't have here, but the only difference is about 2 inches in length. The diameter is the same. That's the most popular of all of our rear air kits. Everyone wants the rear air to capitalize on the realism and functional aspect of our markers, or magazine fed markers in general. So, do the same thing. I put a couple drops of oil in the ASA. I also put a couple drops of oil on the tank O-rings just to keep them lubricated, as those do seal. This is a Ninja 13 cubic inch 3000 PSI tank, with the micro gauge and the V2 regulator. That's standard on all of our tanks that we carry. Go ahead and you will screw it in. Make sure you catch the threads. If it's difficult to tighten in, just a little tip. That's probably because you are cross-threading it. Do not do that. What's going on here? There we go. Do not do that. If you cross-thread it, you're going to be in a world of hurt. You're going to need a new lower because none of your tanks are going to go on the correct way. So screw it on. I also do the same exact thing as a remote line adapter. I keep going until it bottoms out. So for this one, you'll notice that I cannot put the guide rod in here because the burst disc is blocking it. Completely normal. As soon as you screw in your tank, you'll notice and you'll hear it actually pressurize if the tank has air in it. So as soon as that point goes, that's actually good to go. If you can put the guide rod in there, that's perfectly fine, but rule of thumb for me, that's basic marker maintenance and practice, is I'll go until it bottoms out, and then what you'll do is you'll just back it off enough to put the guide rod in. So from here, there we go. All I had to do was just move it just a little bit. I could tighten it back, now the guide rod is on there. This is the push button version. For the screw-on version, that's for the Thunderbolt or any of the drop-down ASAs for the Thunderbolt. It'll be a little bit different. You won't have to really worry about that. You can just move the rod out of the way and you don't even really have to detach it. Other than that, that is all you have to do to install your remote line adapter and your rear air and stock kits. If you have any questions or concerns, make sure you contact us at the mcsus.com website, or you can contact me directly and I'll help you out. Other than that, I'll see you guys out on the field.